Game of Geeks podcast, episode number 1. Welcome to the Game of Geeks podcast, where living in your parents' basement isn't a bad thing, it's a requirement. And now, here are your hosts, the subjects of the 1980s documentary Revenge of the Nerds, Garrett and Dave. Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Game of Geeks, the podcast that specializes in anything with swords, lasers, fangs, lightsabers, and anything else that's cooler than real life. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson, and with me today is David W. Wright. Hey!
Today, wait, I'm not the co-host? I'm just today?
No, just today. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. Episode 2 is somebody
lined up. I'm just sick. I'm not dying.
Episode 2 is going to be Crystal.
Oh, awesome. Then I will not be tuning in because I'm sure she'll be spoiling the entire
spoiler alert,
series.
Tyrion dies.
Oh, if that happens, I will kill you.
No. Insofar as I'm aware, he definitely didn't die this week.
Okay.
So this week we are talking about Game of Thrones Season 3 premiere. So if you haven't watched that yet, spoiler alert, on basically everything in the entire show. Now, fortunately, nobody really died this week.
You say unfortunately?
No, fortunately. Like, there's nothing too bad to spoil. It's not like,
Not like next week.
Yeah.
Not like when Ned was beheaded.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, now have you have you read the books?
I have not read the books. I have the first 4 in my Kindle waiting for me to read. But being a writer that writes like 5,000 times the speed of George R.R. Martin, I don't have time to actually read books as much as I would like.
What's his stat? It's like 500 words a day or some shit?
I had read something like that, but maybe he goes over them like 1,000 times. So he's probably, I don't think he sits there, types 500 words in half an hour and like, that's it. Xbox rest of the day. Fuck y'all.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that he does the thing that none of us like to do, which is like making sure every word is perfect the first time he puts it down. We're much more like revisionary type writers.
Yeah, well, I just run with a rough draft straight to publish.
So full disclaimer for anybody who's hearing us for the first time, which is anybody right now because this is the first episode. I actually did not like the books after a certain point because certain things started happening for stupid reasons, and there were a lot of characters that became really unlikable in the books.
How far did you get into the series?
I was in the middle of the 3rd book, so I know a few things that are about to happen, but not.
Oh, you
much.
Haven't gone further then? Oh, wow.
No. So I'm a few hundred pages in. But I'm loving the show, and the reason that I'm loving the show is that because it's television, the executives won't do any of the things that I hated that he did, which was dwell on unlikable characters for a long time. Like, there are certain characters in the show that are very likable that were very unlikable in the books because the TV producers are like, we're not gonna, like, we can't fuck over the audience.
Okay. Who? Tell me the difference.
Okay. Wow, who is the one person? There's one person coming up.
Baelish?
Baelish is more likable. You still are just not really like
the show. I love
right. Right. You don't like him because he's a terrible person, but in the book he's a terrible person who's more or less irredeemable, and everybody keeps trusting him. And that is a way I've seen people like him though in reality in politics. People like that exist. Yeah.
And they're amazing.
I just don't like that in my entertainment.
I don't want any reality encroaching into my entertainment.
All right. And there's one thing I won't say who. I'm looking forward to how they handle this. There's one person that dies in book 3. I wonder how they're going to handle it in season 3 because that death was what killed me on the series. I was done at that point because it wasn't like Ned Stark where you were like, oh, that sucks, but it makes sense and it was right. It was stupid. It was so dumb, and I was just like
somebody tripped over a bucket and died.
No, somebody made a really really
don't give it away, please.
Well, just it was due to a decision that the character made, which I felt was very out of character. So I'm looking forward to see how they're going to handle that. But anyway, that's later. So the premiere. How fucking awesome was Tyrion in the scene with his dad, where he just like, I mean, okay, so he kind of ended up getting like mega dissed because his dad's a total fucking asshole. But
yeah.
like, dude, like I so feel for Tyrion, where it's just like I literally saved King's Landing, and you can't even.
No, and he refers to his child as basically like a mutant. He's like,
yeah,
he's embarrassed by him, and it's great characterization. It's beautifully done. Is it the same in the books? I mean, do you like Tyrion as much in the books?
Tyrion's one of the last redeemable characters. At the point that I got to in the books, I'm not saying that anybody else is dead. This is not a spoiler. The only people that I still liked were Tyrion and Jon Snow. That was it. I hated everybody else.
Not Arya?
Okay, no, you do, but the way you like her, but the way that the books handle her story is boring. Essentially, it's very boring.
I love her character. She's one of my favorites.
Fantastic. Yeah,
I like in order. I like Ned, Arya. Ned, Arya, Tyrion, and Jon Snow. That's my 4 favorites.
Tyrion's always been my favorite. Then I absolutely loved Ned. Then I loved Jon. Then I loved Robb. Then I loved Arya.
Okay, Robb, he could hit or miss, but yeah. I hate Jaime. I hate Joffrey.
Oh.
The Eminem looking kid.
I like. Oh, he has to die, right?
I'm certainly hoping, but for some reason,
the bad people don't seem to.
No.
Yeah.
The assassin dude, is he in this
assassin
part too? That helped the girl
with the face changer?
Yeah. Does he continue? Because I forget how it ended in season 2.
You want me to spoil things or what?
Is he with her still? I don't remember how that ended.
Well, they split off at the end of season 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, you could tell me if they're going to see each other again.
He does enter back into the story again.
Okay.
That's all I will say, because because I really can't say anything more than that.
I like him too.
Yeah.
And you're about to say, well, you won't like him. He's going to kill her.
You like him right up until he kills Robb Stark. No. What was I going to say? Oh, so there was Tyrion, and then the scene, the dinner. You know what was my favorite scene in the whole thing? The dinner scene with Joffrey, Marjorie, and Cersei, and Marjorie's brother, whoever the fuck he is. Like nobody gives a shit about that guy, but. You know the one I'm talking about, where she's just done the charity thing with the orphans and everything?
Yeah, and the queen, she's dissing her.
Yeah, totally. But she's just like being so nice, but Marjorie like really pulls off this thing of like, I'm going to be very nice and very sweet, but she's fully aware of everything that's going on. She's fully aware of what she's doing to Joffrey, and she's fully aware of everything that Cersei is like secretly saying about her, you know?
She's a player, and Cersei recognizes it. And
totally.
She's threatened by it.
So. And the thing is that she's a player, but she is nice. Like, she likes people.
Oh, she's not scheming? Because I thought perhaps it was...
Well, I mean, at least in the show, like, I don't remember anything super scheming about her. Just like in the show, she is scheming, but she seems... You know, if you had to pick her, if you had to pick her or Cersei on the throne, I'm gonna go with fucking Marjorie every single time.
Well, yeah.
Plus, she wears these amazing dresses. That just, I mean, come on, let's just be honest here. All right. Other awesome part. Everything that happened beyond the wall was pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Trying to figure out where that's going to go. John, is he going in there to really join them or to be a spy? I mean, what they've said so far, I mean, is...
Well, what they've said is that he's going in there to be a spy.
Correct. Okay.
Because
I imagine he's going to side with them at some point.
He was captured with the other Watchmen. The guy
he killed.
Yes, exactly. And he killed him in front of the other wildlings to gain acceptance. And the guy was like, you need to be with them and you need to like learn what their plans are and everything. So that was how he entered into the wildlings band. But there's a really hot redhead who wants his bone. and the people are like seem pretty cool and like want to give him his freedom and everything. So like if I'm in that situation...
And he's always been an outcast looking for a place he belongs.
Exactly. So... it's looking pretty good, like that's kind of a hard offer to turn down.
No, who wouldn't want to live in the cold snow and
with a hot redhead?
Barbarians.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to live in the cold snow either way. At least this way he can wet his wick, so to speak.
The dragon scene. I really thought I forget her name now.
Daenerys.
Yes.
Failed, David.
I watched the show, and I recognize them all by sight, and I don't remember all of their names, so I'm going to have to get over that for this podcast. I'll just say the blonde one, the girl, the guy with the beard.
The dragon lady.
People will be listening like, oh my god, this guy's so stupid.
What the fuck with these guys?
I really thought that scene where that guy was just completely dissing her.
Oh, yeah, with the, but through the interpreter?
Yeah, I thought that she understood, and she was just, like, going to kill him right there. And
it kind of looked that way, didn't it?
I was hoping that would happen, but it didn't. Maybe it'll happen next episode. But
I know what's going to happen with her in that city, and it's fucking awesome.
Is it going to happen in the next episode or further down?
Probably through episode 3, because there's 10 episodes a season. Might be episode 4, maybe.
Now, see, the thing is, the weird thing about this show is that if she is to follow the arc that it seems like she would follow, she would basically be going after and killing all the people we like. Well, a lot of the people we like.
Well, not necessarily, because
I'm like, I feel like I'm rooting. I'm liking the bad person because I see all sides of these wars.
Right.
And that's something I think the show does really well. I mean, the Starks and the Lannisters. You love Tyrion, but his family's up against the Starks, and you love the Starks because that's the first ones you're in with. And Ned Stark was a great
Sansa.
guy.
I despise her.
I feel bad for her. She was a whiny little pain in the ass, but who isn't at that age?
And still very much what? Yeah, I hate. Like, I guess if she was like a strong female character, then every female character in the entire show would be strong. So it's like a counterbalance. But it's like, I just fucking despise her. But what I was gonna say is, like, here's the thing: the Starks don't really look. They're not trying to conquer all the way down. You know what I mean? Robb isn't calling himself the king. He's calling himself the king in the north. So I don't think they're going to go down and like take King's Landing or some shit like that. So if they don't, that means that by the time Daenerys gets there, there's only 2 people who could be there: the Lannisters, and then she kills the Lannisters, and yay, or Stannis Baratheon, and she gets here and kills Stannis, and yay! It's like those are the only 2 people that I could realistically see sitting on the Iron Throne by the time they show up. Now, if he shows up and the Lannisters are there, I don't want her to kill Tyrion, but Tyrion, I trust Tyrion. He'll get out of it.
He'll weasel his way out.
Exactly. Fair lady, your dragons are most beautiful. I am actually a court jester.
I have a dragon of my own.
Would you like to meet it? Oh my god. I've seen 2 interviews with Peter Dinklage at this point. He seems kind of testy. It's weird. You should try and check out the Jon Stewart interview that he did. He seemed like not totally present, first of all, like he wasn't really interested in doing the interview at all. And then he just had these like pretty biting remarks that I was just like, wow, what's
I'd have to watch it. I've seen a few things with him, and I read a Rolling Stone piece on him, I think it was last year. And from everything I've seen, he seems like a very down-to-earth kind of guy that, not at all like the Hollywood assholes that you usually see.
No, that was one thing that I got. Like he seemed he wasn't like pompous, but I don't know what it was. He just seemed sort of disinterested. It was weird.
Maybe right before the interview, Jon Stewart leaned over and said, I hate short people, right? Okay, lights, camera.
He probably, because he does often make jokes like this, he probably said, I'm so glad I finally have an interview subject who's shorter than me. Because he always makes jokes about how short Jon Stewart, is. So if he said something like that, I could understand Peter Dinklage getting up there and just being like, you're a fucking asshole.
And he's not even, he doesn't even have an accent in real life.
No, he doesn't. But I think he would put one on just to say that. Okay, the other part. So what do you think the end game, what's going to happen with Rob?
Personally, I think he's going to die. I don't know. I mean, he wants revenge.
Yeah. He keeps winning, so that makes me feel like, oh, the fall is going to happen, but it seems too cliche to have him charge into battle against the Lannisters and get killed. It's like, well, okay, but why didn't that happen any of the other times, Yeah,
well, the Lannisters aren't very well led. I mean, they're led by a stupid child.
Right. Well, I mean, but they're really led by Tywin, Tyrion's dad.
Well, yeah, now that he's back, at the home front, I think it might change things a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. And he put his mother in the holding cell there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cold.
It's pretty cold, but I mean, that was fucking... Okay, I mean, this is one of those things where I see both sides. She fucking let Jaime Lannister go. Like, that's fucked.
But she did it. Why did she do it again? To avoid, like, a massacre or something, wasn't it? Wasn't it for the greater good?
Well, no, not for the greater good. It was for her daughters. Because she knew that with everything that had just happened, like Ned being killed and so on and so forth, like everybody wanted to kill Jaime. Now, if Rob's men killed Jaime, the Lannisters no doubt would kill, they would kill Sansa and Arya. So she let him go and also made him promise to, like help release her daughters, like as a token of goodwill, which he did promise he would do, and that was like a redeeming moment for him. I thought that was cool. But
I can never like him.
Jaime?
No, after he shoved the kid out the window, that right there, the pretty much the most bastard thing you can do.
You might be surprised. I remember that by the time I left off in the books, I kind of liked him. I was like,
no, I refuse. Sorry.
Yeah.
I refuse.
We'll see how it goes. But he's running off with Brigitte now, or whatever the fuck. Who was a character in the books that I did not like at all.
Why?
Hated her. She was just, I don't know, she was just super boring. Like, you know how in the show she's kind of slow and kind of, not physically, but like kind of slow and like a little bit dim?
Yeah.
A little bit. In the books, it was like multiply that by 10. And then she never had witty one-liners to Jaime where she told him what a fucktard he was. It was like she was just dull and boring and dim-witted all the time, and I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, come on.
So there weren't any hot sex scenes between them.
No. Not that I've seen. Although, it is HBO. They've put in a lot of sex scenes that are not in the books.
Really?
Yeah, like in the books, it's hinted that the that Renly and the Knight of Flowers were, banging each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then HBO, it's like, hey, gay sex scene, and you're like, oh, okay, okay. You never saw any sex scenes in Littlefinger's brothel. Like, never saw in the books anything. And then it's HBO, so lesbian hookers, fisting each other.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
No, to me, it doesn't attract or detract from the show. It is what it is.
No, totally. Yeah.
It's I don't. I know some people think it's gratuitous, and I could understand why they might think that, but at the same time, it's not out of place.
The thing is that
I didn't read the source material, so I can't say.
Right.
But for a piece like that, where back in the day, sex wasn't as puritanical as it is now, and we're talking about a different world, actually. So
right. Yeah, based on how dark and adult the entire rest of the show is, if they left that element out, I think it would be pandering. Not pandering. I think it would just be like kind of naive and childish. It's like, well, we can kill people and we can say the word cunt and fuck a lot, but nobody's gonna have sex on screen. No, it's like, no.
That would be a movie made by my parents. Like Sean had said on our other podcast, his mother would let him watch all the violence he wanted as a teenager, but in a nude scene, yeah. My parents were the same way. It's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't.
A bizarre double standard.
Yeah, my parents were much cooler. They kind of would sit down and explain things with me. It's like, okay, so we've seen this movie.
House.
Yeah. Now, what you use this for, and if you give them an extra 20.
20. Wow, you get cheap whorehouses.
Yeah, well, not exactly legal. Or does that make them more expensive? I don't know.
We're out of my area of expertise right now.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure what my area of expertise is, but okay.
Two nerds talking about sex. This is awesome. That's what we should have named the fucking podcast. Dude.
That could be the title of the show or this episode.
That would have been such a better the one where.
Don't worry, I'm sure there will be an episode where we do that, but
yeah, no, absolutely.
Or several of them.
They didn't touch on the younger. They didn't touch on Jaime, and they didn't touch on the younger Stark boys at all in this episode.
And Arya wasn't in there.
And Arya wasn't in there either. Now, see, that's the thing. This is one of the things that they're doing because it's television that they didn't do in the books. There's a section of her story that gets pretty boring right around this time, and I hope that they're condensing it into about half of one episode and taking that whole storyline and just kind of going hurt, because it's just, I mean, this is just me speaking personally, but it bored the fuck out of me,
Now, was she likable in the books as she is on the TV show?
Yes, you loved her,
and Ned the same.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, my list of favorites from before, that was based on the books and the show. Like, Tyrion is my absolute favorite just because I love smartass. Ned was awesome just because he was like one of the few like truly honorable dudes, and like, fuck, you wanted him to win so badly, and the way that he went out was kind of perfect, Yeah. No, they're doing, as far as I'm concerned, they're doing a really good job of adapting the books to the screen, and there are things that they're covering in the show that I was confused about in the books, or like I thought was kind of glossed over, like the relationship between Stannis and the Lady in Red, who fuck her, by the way. Hate that shit.
How integral is she to what's coming in this season? Very.
Based on what I've seen, nah. Yeah, it's she's there and she's doing stuff, but it's not like, oh my god.
Oh, but, wow. Okay. I figured they were building her up into something huge.
I think they are. I've heard
I mean,
rumors that she gets worse and worse and worse.
the third book is, I know you said what turned you off to it, but the third book is considered by most people that love the series, the whole reason this series exists was to get to this third book because it's so full of fuck yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
But they're only doing half of it. They're splitting the season into two halves or the book into two seasons on on HBO.
Are they really?
Yeah. So what I'm wondering is, should I start reading the third book in the series, or will I have missed out a lot by not reading the actual first and second books?
Oh, no. Yeah. Read it all. Like, you need... Yeah. No, I wouldn't...
Damn.
I wouldn't just dive right into 3. Yeah, sorry. Plus,
I
then
guess I
you'll
won't
spoil
read
the
it.
whole rest of the season for yourself.
Well, I
Then
won't
we'll
mind.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'd mind as much if I was actually reading the book and experiencing it, and I wouldn't mind watching it again.
No, for sure. But then we'll be doing the show next week, and you'll be like, "Oh, dude!" And then when Tywin Lannister dies, and I'm like, "No, that hasn't happened yet." And you're like,
No.
"Oh, sorry."
No, unlike your other co-hosts, I don't do that. I don't spoil shit.
It's true. Oh God, she's terrible at that. Did you hear last week's episode?
No, I
I
have
love-
not seen it yet.
I love spoiling alerts. She actually said those words twice.
I have to spoil something for her. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to find out the sex of her baby, and I'm going to tell her.
You're gonna sneak into her room in the middle of the night with an ultrasound machine. And then you're gonna perch on over her bed until she wakes up in the morning.
Holding up a picture. Ah!
It's a boy, bitch. And now Crystal can never listen to this podcast.
That would be a great reason to be arrested. I had to get back at her because she ruined the life of Pi.
I did an involuntary ultrasound. What do you?
Who wouldn't have done the same thing?
Literally anybody else in the world. Shit. I keep drifting back onto the one. Oh, the whole relationship between Joffrey and Marjorie. I do happen to know where that goes, but I like how they're developing it in the show a lot better. It was not very played up at all in the books.
Is she going to make him likable?
Joffrey?
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if do you want me to answer that honestly?
Without telling me what happened, yes.
Yeah, no, she's not.
Good, okay.
Yeah, no.
I want to continue hating him.
No. I mean, you, as far as I know, you always hate Joffrey. Always,
Well,
always. And
Perfect
Cersei.
show.
Yeah, that fucking, ugh. That whole family is just terrible. Tyrion and...
But yet
to
you
a
like
lesser
Jaime.
degree, Yeah, no. Jamie actually...
The only way he redeems himself is if he kills Cersei and Joffrey.
Well, okay, he makes a speech. He makes a speech in I think it was book 3, because I think it was pretty close to the end. That actually, that speech, and this doesn't spoil anything in particular because you already know all this stuff, that speech redeemed him for me, pretty much all by itself. And he basically said, everybody calls me the Kingslayer, the oath breaker, the, scum because I broke the oath and broke the law and everything. And then he's basically like, I was working for the most evil motherfucker the planet has ever seen. He told his soldiers to kill babies. He ate, like the king before Robert Baratheon.
Mm-hmm.
He was his guard, and he saw him do horrible thing after horrible thing after horrible thing, and just how fucking evil the guy was. And finally, one day, he stuck a sword in him. And he's like, did I break my oath? Yes. Would I do it again tomorrow? Yes. Any day of the week I would do it. And I was like, well, that's a good fucking point.
Yeah, but he shoved a kid out a window.
Yeah, there's that.
I'm sorry, but if you come to my house and you shove my son out of a window, I'm going to have a problem.
Right. Right. And that was another thing why I didn't like when Caitlin Cat Stark let him go, I was like, he already shoved your son out of a window. What makes you think he's going to save your fucking daughters? Come on, are you dense?
I guess, you know, in that situation, I can almost understand you don't have a whole lot of hope to hang on, so you're going to take any shred.
Yeah.
People deceive themselves a lot when it comes to things like hope.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And here we go.
I'm going to sample that and send it to Johnny. I'm not even going to use it on this show.
Now, one thing I do want to know, if they've gotten to it yet. I mean, the HBO series anyway has played up the whole, you know, wolf thing and the connection to the boys. Are these boys like fucking werewolves or something weird? I mean, is there something big coming, some good payoff to that, or is it just some bizarre psychic shit that they're never going to get to? Or
I can tell you what I know, and it's not too massive of a spoiler. In fact, I think it already happened in the show, or I don't know if I imagined it from reading the books or if it already happened in the show. Bran starts going into his wolf's body while he's sleeping, and he gradually comes into control of it, so he can actually move again. So he's super stoked and excited about that, but he actually is the wolf when he's sleeping.
Like some sort of psychic soul bonding thing?
Right, that kind of thing. And nothing like super crazy happens yet that I'm aware of. Like, he doesn't do that and then run to King's Landing and kill Tyrion or something. But that was starting to develop when I bailed out.
Now, yeah, I got the feeling that, you know, he was, you know, in his dreams somehow doing something like that, but not to the point, like whether he was just dreaming and seeing, but not that he was actually experiencing it. So yeah, maybe they didn't do that, or maybe they did it and I just, you know, missed that part of it. Sometimes sometimes when they show stuff, you're like not sure, you know, like the bird with three eyes. Is this real or is it a dream? I mean, the way they film it, kind of open to interpretation, at least when I watch.
Well, I think it's going to be awesome. Like, you've got you've got Daenerys coming from the south. You've got
Is she going to be bad?
Is she going to be bad?
Yeah,
I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, nobody's really bad in this show except the Lannisters. You know, like, they're the only ones who are like really evil, will do anything for power, motherfuckers. And then Daenerys is just like, I want my throne back, and the Starks are like, we want to avenge our father. And then of course there's the zombies. They're bad, but they're chaotic evil. You know, they're not lawful evil. They're just sort of.
Now, what about that crazy woman and her stupid child that tried to make Tyrion fight
on the Eyrie?
What's up? Are they going to be players in the show later on? I really did not like that whole thing.
They'll be back. That's all.
Oh God,
No, you'll like it.
I do like Bronn. Is that his name? Tyrion's guard.
He's so awesome.
I love him. The actor is awesome. He's one of my favorites too.
And every little
is he going to be around for a while?
Yes.
Okay,
and every little moment, I love every single little moment that he has with Tyrion. You know, like every brief moment of
dialogue, back and forth, witty banter. Oh, okay.
Every moment of bonding that they have is just like, aw. And then, like, next minute, he's like, you need to pay me more. And you're like, you're kind of an asshole. But he's great.
What about the dude with the scar on his face that basically protected Sansa?
Oh, the dog?
Yeah. Is he still around on the show? I didn't see him in this episode.
He was not in this episode.
He didn't die.
No, he didn't die. He got out of King's Landing when the wildfire happened.
Oh, why did he
remember? Because he's afraid of fire.
Oh, and he fled.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. So they can like hunt him down or some shit.
No, Joffrey doesn't give a fuck. You know, it's like he just whatever.
So is he gonna be back in the show?
He was back in the series. He's another one that I really don't like. But
really? Oh.
I don't like him just because like he's such a freak, and I'm like, dude, just stop being a freak and you'd be okay. Sorry. and but he does show back up. He plays a minor role in the lives of many of the characters, and that just
interesting.
That's a recurring thing. Well, I mean, it's like, first he's with Joffrey, and then with Sansa, and then he had a role in,
and he saved. That made me like him a lot, and gentle giant sort of character.
Exactly,
so I'm hoping
but
he's still do something I'm going to hate.
Right, but he's still a total asshole. It's like gentle giant, yes, but
he has to keep his day job.
Right, exactly.
All of these people are playing the politics of their situation.
Well, see, him not so much. He just thinks that the world is a terrible and dark place and that everybody is evil.
No wonder I identify with him.
Of course. I was going to say, he's basically you with about 150 more pounds of muscle and a burn covering half of his face. Do you mind if I tell you the next character that I remember him interacting with?
Go ahead.
Arya.
Awesome.
It's pretty awesome. If I'm remembering it correctly, it's been like over a year since I read those books, but we'll see.
Now I want to read them.
I'm
gonna cancel the book we're writing right now. Sorry, Sean. I have to read.
Sean, I can't do this right now. I've got to go read Game of Thrones. That wouldn't be douchey.
No, not at all.
Well, we have gone well over the half hour that we had originally planned to do this for.
Bonus material.
Bonus material. This is the extended cut, bitches. I'm going to edit this shit down for the audio feed.
Well, if you edit it, it's going to be down to 10 minutes of stuff that's actually making sense.
Yeah, basically. All right, well, that has been it for A Game of Geeks. Join us next week when we discuss episode 2 of Game of Thrones.
Wait. Stop the music.
What? What?
Oh.
I'm totally expecting you to cough and just blood to spatter your camera.
Yeah, I'm sick, by the way. I'm not like
sorry, we forgot to introduce
smoker.
No, I'm a chronic smoker.
You are? I didn't know that. Oh,
you smoke?
Okay. No, I don't smoke. I'm just sick. I've been sick all week.
Okay.
No. Why don't we tell people what this damn show's going to be out, other than just Game of Thrones? I mean, I don't think we didn't even introduce ourselves.
Well, of course we had. We were trying to fiddle fuck around with our internets for 45 goddamn minutes trying to get the show going.
I was here ready. I was doing my own show by myself. Little puppet theater.
If you know what I mean. It involved a tube sock and some tissues.
Wow, we should have just ended with the music.
Right? This is what happens when you interrupt me ending the show. So our podcast is basically going to be about nerd stuff. And right now it's about Game of Thrones. We decided we wanted to do a podcast about Game of Thrones, but it seemed kind of ridiculous to do a podcast for 10 weeks and then wait for a whole another year. So
because you're going to love us, and you're going to want us in your lives every week.
You're going to want us. You're going to want our voices in your ear.
Whilst masturbating.
And
there went the audience.
and there went all of our one live listener. Hi, Chrissy. No. Shit, I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, so no, we don't know what yet, but after 10 weeks, we're going to figure out what we're going to talk about next, and it's going to be something similarly nerdy, and then we're going to get onto that. And you should hopefully find that similarly enjoyable if you find this enjoyable. And if you don't, well, then fuck off. And that is it.
Wait!
No, fuck you. Music's playing. It's done.
I'm getting pulled off the stage.
That has been A Game of Geeks. I am Garrett Robinson. You can find me at gbr0bitson.com. David can be found at davidwright.com or davidwright.com.
Collectiveinkwell.com.
Collectiveinkwell.com. He doesn't want people going to his
or davidwright.com. I don't update it as much.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. Have a good night.